So this wasn't my intention. I was originally just setting up my new hooch in the backyard just to practice setting it up. You know, but first setup, all of a sudden a storm comes out of nowhere. First it was a bunch of wind, and then some really heavy rain. So I guess this is the first test. So far I can see it's really waterproof. However, I just had the 7 points on the outside staked out without any additional guy out points or anything like that. And it was honestly my first time setting it up, so as soon as the wind hit it, it shook everything apart. The damn thing nearly got knocked over. So luckily the wind died down. I got it all staked out properly again. There's still no guy out points on it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have to practice more with it to make sure it'll stand up in high wind. So this is my new hooch. It's a One Tigris Iron Wall. Earlier today I had this set up in a different spot in the backyard over on the other side of that tree over there. And my intention was just to set it up to practice setting it up, but little did I realize I hadn't checked the weather or nothing. A storm just all of a sudden came out of nowhere. First there was a bunch of wind. I had only staked out the 7 points around the edges. I didn't have any guy lines set up or anything. But I decided to leave the tent set up just to see how it does in the storm. And as soon as the wind hit it, it just kind of pulled it all apart. A big problem I'm having is with these tie-out points. They added these adjustable tie-out points where you just pull on that line to tighten it up. But you barely need to add that much force, and then it just kind of gives. So that and all the shaking of the wind, it just kind of all started coming apart. It didn't topple over completely, but it might as well have. So I'm not sure if I'm doing this correctly, if there's some kind of additional knot you need to do once you got it adjusted to where you need. But for now, I'll just assume it's user error. I was looking for some tips on how to set this tent up properly, and I see a lot of reviews and everybody talks about how great it is and how well it stands up to snow and wind, and it seems every time I push record somebody comes out in the backyard to interrupt me. But hopefully I end up with enough footage at the end of the day to cobble something together. But because I can't seem to find any tips or pointers on setting up this tent, I guess I'll practice with it and eventually come up with my own. But one thing I noticed the first 2 times I set it up was I was having a lot of trouble getting the door zipped up, especially from the inside, you know, because this wall is at an angle, so naturally your head is against the wall on the inside as you're trying to zip it up, and hopefully you got some really long arms. And I was fighting with the zipper, getting it snagged, and I came out and thought about it and realized really all I have to do to fix that issue is move these tent pegs in closer together, because if you just kind of squeeze these two walls together, obviously you're going to end up with a little extra slack in the door, and that'll make zipping it up a breeze. So if you're having the same issue I was, you know, there's your first tip. As for these lines that connect to the stakes, I'm really not too thrilled with this system. It seems great at first, but I'm not having much luck with them. They just seem to loosen up on you. But I may end up removing these plastic pieces altogether if I can't figure out if I'm doing something wrong, or if there's some way to keep the line in place once you've got it adjusted to where you need. There's nothing wrong with just having a piece of line coming off this loop, and then you tie it to the stake and adjust it as you need it. You know, that's worked for I don't know how long, so nothing wrong with that. I've got all my guy out points in place, and I'll just leave them on there when I tear the tent down. That way the next time I set it up, they'll just be on there ready to go. That's not the sort of thing you want to be doing in the rain. I just tied a simple bowline knot and looped them through that piece of webbing there and tied them up. So hopefully these will just be ready to deploy if I ever need them.